Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to talk to my parents when she asked why I don't want to hang with her like I used to? When I 21F was younger, I had a good relationship with my sister 19F. It was around age 10 when I realized things were always how my sister wanted them to be for the time we spent together. It was always the library or a museum, or talking about books or eating together. Those were her only interests, but I had so much more I wanted to do and enjoyed more. I'll be honest, museums were never fun for me. I was always bored out of my mind and I hated the library we went to as kids. But my sister struggled a lot with making friends. She could talk to people just fine, but a lack of interest in other stuff, like movies, TV, music, video games, sports, art, like actually making art vs just looking at it, was a turn off for most kids. Especially when most stuff went over her head, and when she was comfortable with you, she wanted to share everything she loved, so she would talk a lot about the book she had just read, and she would go on forever about it. One time my family took a trip to see our cousins. It was a 5-hour drive and all she would talk about was the last book she read, and she talked near enough the whole 5 hours about it. My parents did not like to see me pull away from her, and they told me I needed to be a good sister and be her social interaction with someone more or less her own age. They would make me go to the museums and the library with her, where she would spend hours. They would set up story time, where we had to read before bed, and talk about what we were reading. They would bribe me with extra time with my friends to do it. And if I said no, they would use time with my friends as a consequence. Oh, well, if you won't take 2 hours to make your sister happy, then you don't get time with friends, and stuff like that was so common. My sister thought we were best friends, and I was miserable every second we spent doing that stuff. And when I would suggest something else, she would say no, X, Y, Z was our thing and we didn't need to change it. She told me we both loved it. One time I half told her the truth, and she got so upset and my parents made me say I hadn't meant it, and told me never to say anything like that to her again. And she bought that I was just mad at our parents and said something I didn't really mean. My sister knows my relationship with our parents is strained, and she thinks that's why we didn't do that stuff as much after I moved out. But recently she moved out too, and she wanted me to go to the museum with her again, and I said I didn't want to. She was surprised and asked me why. I told her I wasn't feeling it. She pushed more. Why wasn't I interested? It was my favorite thing to do. So I told her she needed to talk to our parents about it, and I wouldn't tell her more. She was really confused, and now our parents are saying I'm in a hole. I feel bad for not telling her, but I also feel like it should be their job and not mine, and I also have no idea how I would be honest without crushing her. Am I the a-hole? Update. Kinda. I have been reading through the comments and getting overwhelmed, but I wanted to post this here so people can see it. I will talk to my sister. Not sure how I will talk to her yet, but I need to have at least some honesty out there. I will suggest she should figure out if she was ever diagnosed with ASD, because a lot of people believe she might be. This is going to be very hard, and I'm not sure I'll even get to the later part, because I don't know if I'll mess this up or not, but I will try. Now let's read some comments. Not the a-hole, but your parents sure were. I understand that she needed to get out more, but forcing you to join her on all her favorite activities wasn't the way to do it. They could have gone with an alternating scheme, where one day you chose the activity, the other day she chooses the activity. This was just cruel to the both of you. Their parents are to blame, absolutely. You don't sacrifice one child's interests for another's. Instead of allowing their relationship to develop naturally, they stifled opus. It's no wonder they have nothing in common now. The sister's behavior is a typical Asperger's trait, all-consuming focus on one activity. It's not as common in women, but it is a thing. A friend of mine was like this with food. You could absolutely not talk to her about anything, except food and wine. Nothing. Zero. Not the a-hole. Yes, exactly, and it really set her up for failure, because that's not how friendships work. There is give and take, and you have to be flexible and try things other people like. Not the a-hole. But I do think you need to be honest with your sister. Our entire relationship was based around things you enjoyed, but I didn't. I don't like libraries and museums. I don't want to discuss books for hours. Mom and dad punished me if I didn't do these things with you, so I was forced to, and every time I tried to get you to do anything I enjoyed doing, you just shot it down. I don't want to say this to hurt you, but maybe so it'll help you. Now that you are on your own, you'll have an opportunity to make more friends. Some friends will like the things you like. Some won't. If you're not willing to be flexible and do things that aren't your favorite, to spend time with others, you'll struggle to continue making friends. And, I love you, but being forced to hang out with you for years and only do what you wanted has put a huge strain on our relationship. It was a relief to move out and not be in that position anymore. We can hang out occasionally, if you'd like, but I've done more than my share of times going to your places. I'm not doing that again. Ever. Yeah, that's a great way to make a kid hate doing something. I love reading, but I like getting out and trying different things too. 100% agree with this. By alternating activities chosen by each sister, you would be exposing the younger sister to more that life has to offer. She could have picked up more interests and found more friends. Instead they decided OP was our younger sister's best friend. They totally stole OP's youth by forcing her to be her sister's best friend. And the poor sister. She has to find out later in life that our sister never enjoyed those things. How devastating not going to be to her. Total bad parenting. Yeah, it's pretty obvious who the golden child is in this situation. Her parents basically made her an emotional support animal for her sibling. Or she could have found social activities for the sister that would allow her to meet friends with similar interests. Instead they chose to allow this poor girl to not develop appropriate social skills during her formative years and caused severe damage to her relationship with her sister. People love to armchair diagnose everyone with ASD as we can see in this post, but the truth is that even people on the spectrum can understand and respect that the people around them don't like being forced to participate in activities that don't interest them if someone explains it to them / helps them to find an alternative outlet. Yeah, I also feel so sorry for both Op and sister. Op was forced to do things they didn't want to do, and sister was lied to her whole childhood. What a shitty way to grow up. Not the a-hole, and neither is your sister, but oh boy are your parents a-holes. I feel awful for you, but also for your poor sister. It's cruel that your parents enabled her in such a way that she wasn't able to develop socially as she should have, and I expect that will make her life very difficult. She is absolutely not your responsibility, and I would understand if you needed to just withdraw from this situation entirely, but I recommend talking to her yourself. Your parents are clearly too blinded to tell her an honest account of what happened. I think an explanation coming from you might be the reality check she needs, and perhaps from there you might be able to develop a more equal sister relationship. Out of interest, has your sister ever been diagnosed with anything? I'm no expert and I may be way off the mark here, but based from what little you wrote in your post it sounds like she might be autistic. I also felt like something was missing. Why did the parents coddle the little sister so much? Why did they never take turns with activities? It's normal for little kids to fixate on one topic like dinosaurs when they're little, but that doesn't mean the only thing the whole family can ever do is visit museums and archaeological sites where there are dinosaurs. They include those as part of what the family does. I don't know. I know she was evaluated more than once, but that's about all I know. My parents never said anything about whether she was or wasn't. I think an explanation coming from you might be the reality check she needs, and perhaps from there you might be able to develop a more equal sister relationship. This is really good advice. The relationship isn't beyond fixing. They just need to start over again, and this time on equal footing. Op can invite her sister for things that she enjoys, or try a neutral setting, so her sister can get to know her. Maybe they won't be friends, but they can try, this time on their own terms. That the sister might need a diagnosis and or some help seems likely. It also looks like the parents decided forcing Op to be her sister's security blanket was easier than actually providing that help. This for sure sounds like she's neurodivergent in some way. Sounds like the sister just had a hyperfixation, and instead of helping her find balance in life, they just decided to shove it on the sister. Now Op has resentment towards her sister, and her sister is going to have more struggles than normal since her parents never gave her the support and resources she needed. I have Asperger's, and I was reading the story, and before I got to the edit at the end I was like, wait a minute, out of this bad social reaction attaching to one person and telling them everything seems a bit familiar, she might have it. Not the a-hole, but it's time to be honest with your sister. This needs to come from you, because your parents won't be honest with her. It sounds like you love your sister, you just resent being forced to do only what she enjoyed and having your own wants and needs minimized and dismissed. It's time to start an adult relationship with her. Agreed. I don't think they'd be honest with a sister, and Op can set the record straight from the start vs some twisted narrative the paternals come up with. This is what I was coming to say. They are both adults and moved out of their parents' home. Op needs to just talk to her sister, tell her that those aren't her favorite things to do and she only did them because she was forced to as a kid. Telling C's to go ask their parents doesn't help the situation, because as Op has said, she doesn't trust that their parents will even tell her the truth. Op, if you don't want to hang out with your sister, just be honest with her. If she freaks out, then she freaks out. That's not on you. You're not the a-hole for not wanting to hang out with your sister, but I think all of you could do much better with communicating. Yeah, I'm not sure why Op isn't more direct now about it, not the a-hole still, but pushing it off. To ask their parents is a bad way to communicate about the issue. There's a way to be honest and drive home your point while not being overtly mean or cruel. You could just ask questions. What is my favorite place to visit? My guess is she would say something like the museum and you would reply, no, that's your favorite place to visit. Mine is blank. What is my favorite book or activity, or whatever. And just continue like that till perhaps she gets a clue. I'm not sure if this will work though. Exactly, to me, it's not about whether or not Op is in a hole, but more about her wanting to try to maintain a good relationship with her sister, which Op does seem interested in. I agree, but I think that for the specific question at hand, Op, you're the a-hole. Obviously Op is not remotely responsible for her parents' failings, but as they're both adults now, she the a-hole for not addressing it with her sister when directly asked. I could maybe go everyone sucks here for everyone but the sister. Thanks for watching, hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Also like the video if you enjoy it.